Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. What's this, Jingles? 2 World of Tanks videos in a row? Well, yeah. You see, the thing is, yesterday's World of Tanks video, I mean, plenty of you seem to enjoy it, but I can't help but feel that it didn't really warrant a full video. It was more suited to maybe a 3-minute segment in an episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly to get the relevant part about what the hell happened to the Leopard prototype, rather than showing you the entire battle. So in an effort to make it up to you, here's another World of Tanks video. This is, nope, I'm not even going to try to say that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'd like to have you warmly welcome Dave back to World of Tanks. Yep, here he is. This time it is 50 TP prototype, Tier 8 Polish heavy tank. Dave has found himself in a Tier 8 battle here on Himmelsdorf. It's an encounter battle. And he was initially thinking about going to the top of the hill, but very quickly changed his mind, and instead is heading down to the Banana Road, underneath the castle. He's been joined by the Japanese Super Heavy. Is that an OHO? It is an OHO. Initially, Dave is not going to have a huge amount of success down here, although there are a couple of good spots for this tank, where you can keep the lower glacis covered up behind pieces of rubble like this. The problem is that there are equally good spots down the other end of the road. And the Chinese Tier 8 down there, the 110, already anticipating exactly this problem, has preloaded the high explosive. Now, he only did 9 damage because he, I think, hit Dave square in the front of the turret. But as long as Dave is using this rubble to hide the tank behind, the 110 is going to have to aim for the commander's hatch, where he will be able to do a little bit more damage with a high explosive, and more importantly, knock out his commander. Dave, understandably getting a little bit frustrated of playing this game of fuck you, no fuck you, no fuck you, no fuck you, goes for the much easier target, the IS. The IS is not using the rubble for cover, and, well, it wouldn't really make that much difference, even if he did, with 218mm of penetration, with piercing ammunition. Dave could probably just punch right through his turret front anyway. With the IS momentarily backed up, Dave is still looking for a part of the 110 that he can reliably penetrate at this range, and then something, well, not entirely unexpected, incredibly stupid, yes, unexpected, no. The IS decides, actually, I think I can win this fight. Use flash? He can't. However, he's managed to die in such a position that it's given the 110 even more concealment. So that's kind of annoying, and the situation on the top of the hill isn't looking too good either. It looks like the surviving team members up there are in full retreat, with the enemy team likely to be hot in pursuit as well. So leaving the OHO to deal with that really annoying 110, Dave turns around and heads back to see if there's something he can do about the headlong rout that's broken out behind him. Looks like the T-29 is going to try to make a last stand on the corner. The Tiger P is trying to make a run for it. Dave manages to finish off an enemy light tank just before he scoots into cover, and the Tiger P so very nearly made it. And probably would have made it if his repair kit wasn't on cooldown, but, well, it was, so he didn't. One more good solid hit and the T-29 is dead. And the T-29 is dead. In fact, half of the team are dead, and Dave is now basically completely alone on this corner. The OHO is still occupied with the 110. There are 2 other tanks right at the far end of the road firing back up here, but other than that, Dave is pretty much on his own. And he really needed that shot on the Oni to do some damage, so of course it didn't. Now there's a whole bunch of things about to happen very quickly, so I'm going to have to pause the video just to make sure I catch them all for you. When you're in this kind of situation, you need to either reduce or limit the number of guns firing back at you. The Yak Panther is a one-shot kill, so he's going to take the Yak Panther out first. The destruction of the Yak Panther reduced the number of guns shooting at him by 1, but there are still a whole bunch of enemy tanks there that could shoot at him, so he's going to limit them by using the terrain and the Oni in front of him. He's going to back up around the corner, keeping the Oni between himself and all of those enemy tanks. Now that doesn't mean they're not going to be able to shoot at him. In fact, the AMX 1357 does continue to shoot at him, but all he's actually doing is hitting the Oni in front of Dave, and he's going to turn blue as a result. Now, a couple of other things have just happened. First and foremost, the friendly SU-14-2 has just suicided because scumbags are going to be scumbags. But secondly, why aren't these guys rushing Dave? Why aren't they all stomping him to death while they can? Well, everybody loves an easy target, and right now the easy target is not Dave. It's the OHO down the other end of the road who has his back to all of these guys. Although his turret at least is pointing in this direction, which is really bad news for the P-44 Pantera. It's possible that the enemy team's supply of brave pills were all being carried by the P-44 because suddenly they all appear to be either backing off or running off and looking for other things to shoot at. The Oni is now a one-shot kill, and the friendly OHO to the rear still has his gun pointing in this direction, which is bad news for the P-43 up there. But it's good news for the 110 that they were all originally fighting at the other end of the road, who's managed to sneak up and is now right behind that Oni. Meanwhile, well, I was going to say Dave kind of has his own problems, but he really doesn't. I mean, this Progetto 46 is absolutely no problem. Yeah, you'd better back up, sunshine. But the sudden appearance of all of these fresh enemy tanks means the only way that Dave can directly help the friendly OHO behind him is by, well, once again, trying to reduce the number of guns shooting at him. He's taking care of the, well, not team killing, but team damaging AMX. Once again, the other enemies at that end of the road have decided to screw this, and they've gone looking for easier things to kill, and Dave can now directly support the OHO against the 110. Although, to be completely fair, it didn't really look as if the OHO was in that much trouble. He definitely seemed to have the situation fairly well in hand. There are just 3 of them left, however, against 6 enemies. Oh, make that 2 of them against 6 enemies. Oh, hang on a second. Make that 2 of them against 5 enemies. Now, at this point, it really would make sense for Dave and the OHO to be sticking together. But Dave's got his blood up. He's on 8 kills here. He's looking for the P-43, who is a one-shot kill, and the OHO is going looking for the enemy artillery. The bad news is the OHO is going to find the enemy artillery, and he's not going to survive the encounter, which means Dave is now alone against 5 enemy tanks. And there's the artillery, but Dave doesn't have a shot. Somebody else appeared to have a shot though, reducing that Lorraine to practically 0 health, and Dave's the last one left alive on his team, and he didn't do it. So that must have been friendly fire. Well, we'll worry about that in a second. Dave's just about to reduce the number of guns shooting back at him to a mere 4. That was Dave's 9th kill, 4 enemy tanks remaining, 2 of which are artillery. But if he's going to win this, he's going to have to kill 13 enemy tanks. And let's be brutally honest here, when was the last time you saw a game of World of Tanks where somebody was not in a top tier Matilda 4, or a ridiculously overpowered Panzer IIJ Premium, or maybe a Hotchkiss, and they scored 13 kills? Yeah, it's not very likely, is it? Still, Dave's determined to make the most of the situation and at least go down fighting, and he's in a fairly good spot here. He can position himself so that they have to face him, and he doesn't have to worry about having the gun pointing in one direction while an enemy tank sneaks up on him from the other. They pretty much all have to come into his front quarter here. And the P-43 is a one-shot kill. The IS-2 has plenty of health, and the artillery shouldn't be able to hit him from here. So, this is a fairly tough nut to crack for the enemy team. If you're on the enemy team in this situation, what do you do? Well, there's a couple of things that you can do. If you're determined to no cap and kill all, the IS-2 needs to come out and take a hit, because he can afford to take a hit. 2 hits from the IS-2, 1 from the P-43, or any combination of the above. Dave is done, this match is over, the enemy team win. The IS-2 doesn't even have to take a damaging hit. There's plenty of space on that corner for him to side scrape and troll Dave into taking a shot that isn't actually going to do any damage. And yet, nothing. He's just sitting there looking at the P-43 saying, well, go on then. And the P-43 is looking at the IS-2 and saying, screw that, you've got the health, you do it. The IS-2 seriously needs to put his man pants on, but he's just refusing to do so. And what's the deal with the 2 artillery? They could be making themselves useful by sitting in the cap circle, putting pressure on Dave and forcing him to do something stupid. Oh, hang on a second. That's that mystery solved at least. The artillery are not sitting in the cap circle because they're far too busy killing each other. Well, of course they are. And the P-43 was so sick and tired of waiting for the IS-2 to put his man pants on that he instead succumbed to the pressure and did something stupid. Hey, you in the IS-2, you seem to be new here. Let me spell this out for you. You're the one with the health. You're the one that should have been coming out and taking the hit, not the P-43. Oh, there's the S-51. Okay. That just made this a lot trickier. Or it would have made it a lot trickier if the IS-2 hadn't used his next shot to team kill the S-51, then back off around the corner and just sit there sulking. He's like, no, not playing anymore. Screw you. There, look, see? He hasn't had his account suspended for team damage. He was actually still in control of the vehicle. He was just having a really good sulk. It's like, nah, screw this stupid game. I didn't want to play anyway. And that is how Dave, with 9 kills under his belt but 4 enemy tanks remaining to be disposed of, managed to win the match without capping and without killing all 4 remaining enemy tanks. A textbook example of an enemy team snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And I'm positive that Dave isn't complaining. I'm sure he's very grateful to the S-51 and the IS-2, and to a lesser degree, the AMX 1357 for that Kolobanov's medal. And I'm sure we're all grateful too, because frankly, that was hilarious. So I hope you all enjoyed it, because that's it for today. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.